All right, we are live.
Okay. Hello, this is Poonam Tandon, founder and president of MySC Review, also called MER. Thank you so much for joining the session. Today's subject of discussion is when should we write an optional essay? So before we begin, we'll talk about our company, MER, and myself. Founded in 2011, MySC Review is dedicated, personalized, and affordable BSchool consulting service that believes in the principle that all applicants possess unique perspectives, professional achievements, and life experiences that set them apart. Following this principle, we have supported hundreds of students in getting accepted into the top 20 MBA programs in the US, Europe, Canada, and Asia. In the past 10 years, we have achieved excellent success with our students, and 90% of them have been accepted into a majority of their target schools. In addition, MER students have received admission with scholarships, 30% to 100%, from prestigious schools worldwide. You can see the complete listing here. We have assisted many applicants with low GMAT scores as well. Our clients have been accepted into the top 20 MBA programs with GMAT scores between 600 to 680. You can click here for testimonials. MER prices are nearly 50% lower than its direct competitors at $14.99 for one school and $27.99 for 3 schools. MER offers unbeatable value any way you look at it. Moreover, unlike other companies, we do not charge extra for rush service. We strive to know you completely to ensure that your best stories are presented in your essays. We don't follow a cookie-cutter approach and will not slot you in any template or a particular profile, but provide in-depth and highly personalized support that is unique to your needs. Every student works directly on a one-on-one basis with the founder and CEO of MySC Review, that is me, and not any part-time or junior consultant. We offer 2 primary packages, essay packages and school packages. School packages fall into 2 categories, basic and comprehensive. We do not segment our services into silver, gold, and platinum. It's simple. You will get the same service regardless of whether you purchase 2 essays or a 5 school package. Now something about me. With 3 decades of experience teaching English to my students in India and the US, I founded my venture, MySC Review, in 2011. To provide personalized and dedicating consulting service to business school applicants. Since then, I have been a full-time consultant and have helped applicants get accepted into the top programs in US, Canada, Europe, and Asia. Apart from business school applicants worldwide, I have also assisted applicants for other programs such as MBA, specialized master's programs, and PhD programs. A big part of my counseling is storytelling. I'm passionate about my work and am highly committed to all of my students. It's my pleasure to assist them on the path to self-discovery and reflection, pull the right stories out of them, and help them showcase their best personal and professional self. I am one of the top 5 most reviewed consultants on the GMAT Club. And to ensure the quality of my services, I do not work with more than 6 applicants at a time. You have the link here. You can click here for GMAT Club reviews, 121 reviews. I have been a member of AGAC, Association of International Graduate Admission Consultants, since 2012, and I have attended AGAC conferences at LBS, Cambridge, INSEAD, Booth, Kellogg, Ross, MIT, HVS, and Babson. For the last 2 years, I have been attending virtual conferences of AGAC. So that's about myself and the company. Let's talk about session agenda now, for which you have attended. This is the session agenda: introduction, 3 types of optional essays, 8 reasons you should attempt the type 1 optional essay, and we will illustrate them with examples from MER students' essays, then 4 reasons you should write the type 2 optional essays, then 5 key tips for approaching optional essays we'll discuss. When working with students on their applications, one question that I always get is, should I write an optional essay? Because applicants often wonder if it is really an optional essay or if not writing an optional essay will hurt their application. Well, there is no one-shoe-fits-all answer to this question. There are 2 reasons. First, every candidate has a distinct profile, and some candidates also have some weaknesses that we also call red flags. Secondly, different schools have different requirements for optional essays. So my advice on optional essay is based on 2 factors: candidates' individual profiles and each school's optional essay requirements. Roughly, we have categorized them into 3 types. Type 1, optional essay to address a weakness or unclear info in profile. Some programs state explicitly that this essay should only be used to address any unclear information or extenuating circumstances, such as academic weakness, employment gap, education gap, choice of recommender, etc. For example, Chicago Booth, Yale, UCLA, CBS, Kellogg, Duke Fuqua, and Ross ask applicants to submit optional essays only to address any weakness in their candidacy. And some schools even clearly indicate that no preference will be given to candidates who choose to respond to the optional essay. UCLA and CMU are 2 such schools. UCLA clearly states, no preference is given in the evaluation process to those who choose to respond to this optional essay. So please use your best judgment. Now, type 2. Type 2 optional essay is the kind of optional essay that we use to provide additional information. Some programs ask applicants an open-ended question about additional information to help the admission committee evaluate their applications. LBS, Oxford, and UNC are some such schools. In such cases, the candidates can write the optional essay to reveal to the AdCom that aspect of their profile which they did not get an opportunity to share in any other part of the application, that is resume, essays, and short answer questions. So the candidates need not have a red flag in their applications, but they may have some essential dimensions of their personal or professional story that they would showcase their uniqueness to the admission committee. So you may also use this essay to shine a spotlight on the experience or a side of your personality that has not been revealed elsewhere, such as leadership role or volunteer experience. Now, there is for type 2 essays, I will also explain about LBS. LBS asks about 17 short questions in the application form about academic performance, English language ability, and additional information about interests and international experience. So you must think strategically about how you can use this essay to your benefit by telling the admission committee about your life experiences or achievements. At MER, we usually use this essay for outlining potential contribution to the program or a life experience that make applicants stand out of the crowd. This open-ended question allows you to cover almost any topic that you want to clarify or elaborate on. Type 3. This is a combination of both type 1 and type 2, which means that some schools follow a broader approach and ask applicants to provide additional information of their candidacy while also indicating examples of extenuating circumstances that they would like to share with the admission committee. For example, Wharton, NYU, Stern, CMU, Tepper, McCombs, Tuck, Cornell ask candidates to share additional information as well as extenuating circumstances that they think will help the admission committee review their applications. You can see one example on the screen. It's a combination of both type 1 and type 2. The first part is about additional information about their candidacy, and the second part of what in question is about extenuating circumstances. So now let's discuss each type of these essays, mainly type 1 and type 2, in detail. There are 8 reasons you should attempt the type 1 optional essay. That is, an optional essay to discuss extenuating circumstances. Low GPA, low GMAT GRE, education gap, employment gap, choice of recommender, coursework in core business subjects, unemployment status, and job hopper. Let's discuss them one by one. Low GPA. If your undergrad GPA is low, you must take advantage of the optional essay to explain your lower than average GPA. There may be many reasons, circumstances that resulted in your low GPA. For example, sickness of self or parent, accident, employment, excessive involvement in extracurricular activities in college, or simple immaturity. The last one is the most common reason I have seen in our low GPA optional essays. Whatever your reasons are, address them objectively without making any excuses. After explaining the reasons that led to your GPA, you should discuss the efforts you made to demonstrate your academic prowess. The best way to do is to earn a high GMAT GRE score. You should also describe other steps that you took to make up for your academic weakness. For example, if you took additional courses to brush up on your quant skills, make sure to list them here. Also, we have seen that AdComs may be a little more lenient when you receive a lower GPA from a STEM field or a top-ranked institution where the grading is stringent. On the screen, you can see an example of an optional essay written by a military candidate I worked with. He is writing to explain his low grades. If you have read the example, this candidate was working full-time and serving his country as a Marine while continuing his education. He had to miss his classes due to deployments and training events, which affected his grades. So to justify his low GPA, he wrote an optional essay of 500 words to explain his leadership experiences as a military candidate and what all those experiences taught him. He graduated from McCombs. Low GMAT. Second reason is low GMAT GRE. Though GMAT GRE is a critical component of the MBA application, it is not the end-all be-all of MBA admissions. A strong GMAT score helps you get your foot in the door, but it cannot guarantee an admission offer. Some schools consider accepting new and improved GMAT scores after the application deadline, while some schools have gone test optional. However, if your score is lower than the school average or does not represent your abilities, the optional essay is the right place to address this. In addition, you can highlight how you have excelled in other areas. For example, multiple promotions, leadership initiatives, and other achievements at work, extensive community work, or excellence in extracurricular activities are also some of the ways that can mitigate your subpar GMAT score. The example on the screen, you might have read, this candidate had a low GMAT verbal score. So in this essay, he focused on his competitive quant score and integrated reasoning score, as well as his consistently good performance throughout his academic life. To illustrate this, he also mentioned his ranking in his undergrad and graduate studies. Number 3 reason, education gap. If there is a gap between your undergraduate studies for any reason, academic probation or sickness or personal hardship, you must write the optional essay to address that. For example, you likely had to leave college in the middle of your studies to take care of your sick parent, or faced mental issues after facing unexpected personal setbacks that made it impossible for you to continue your studies. The reasons can be many. Whatever the case, explain your situation here and conclude your essay by explaining how the experience matured you as a person. The example on the screen is written by a student who faced academic dismissal after he lost focus on studies because of a personal tragedy. As you can see, this candidate sought support from his family during that period and also occupied himself in constructive work at home. After a period of 2 years, he bounced back and completed his degree and training. This candidate made it to 3 top 20 MBA programs with scholarships. Number 4, employment gap or major career change. So if you have a long gap between 2 jobs, you must explain it in the optional essay. A short gap between school and your first job after graduation does not need to be explained. But an employment gap of more than 3 months needs to be addressed in the optional essay. Again, there may be many reasons for your employment gap: a personal hardship or a family emergency or pursuit of a hobby. Maybe you were learning something, dance or music, or maybe you were writing a book, or you were engaged in community service opportunity, or you were taking a world tour, or you were involved in a startup venture that needed your total commitment. Whatever the reason, don't assume that you will have a chance to address it during the interview. Explain everything here so it does not raise any eyebrows. The example on the screen is written by a candidate to explain her employment gap. Here, the candidate explains how she made a productive use of those 8 months of that 8-month period, both personally and professionally. She enhanced herself professionally, and she also took care of her baby at that time. Choice of recommender. It's number 5. This is a very common reason for writing optional essays because it's not uncommon for people to feel uncomfortable sharing their plans to leave the job to pursue an MBA with their current supervisors. They feel hesitant in sharing their MBA programs with their current supervisors. Also, many employers don't support their employers' decision to advance their education. So in such cases, applicants request other referees, past supervisors, mentors, clients, etc., to write their LORs. So though AdComs understand this, it is advisable to address this directly in your optional essay so they know why your current supervisor has not provided you his recommendation. Also, explain why the chosen recommender is a good fit to evaluate your professional skills and accomplishments. You can see the candidate has done both in this example, and this is just an excerpt, not the full essay, not the complete essay. Number 6, coursework in core business subjects. Some schools, for example, UNC, ask applicants to explain their academic preparedness if they have not completed core business subjects such as calculus, microeconomics, statistics, financial accounting. So if you are one of them, you should explain in the optional essay what actions you have taken to take additional courses to handle the program's academic rigor. You can see on the screen the example of such optional essay. Please note that here the candidate is highlighting his knowledge of calculus and statistics and how he is applying microeconomics aspects at work. He also shares his plan to learn microeconomics and financial accounting in the coming months to demonstrate his ability to handle the academic rigor of UNC MBA program. Other reasons for writing type 1 optional essay is your unemployed status and change of too many jobs. If you are unemployed at the time of applying, make sure to explain it in the optional essay why your employer laid you off. During the pandemic, many people had lost their jobs. So your unemployed status under these unprecedented circumstances should not hurt your application. The admission committee members understand this. However, they need to know about your situation. So make sure to explain it in the optional essay so they don't assume anything. Also explain how you are spending your time creatively during this period. Also, sometimes people like to switch jobs that do not meet their creative, financial, or other needs. But if you have held more than 3 jobs in a 5-year career, you may be viewed as a job hopper. In such cases, you must justify your frequent job switching. You do not want to give the impression that you make your decisions in haste or find it difficult to get along with others. At MER, we have helped people write optional essays on all of these topics. Okay. Now, type 2 optional essay, that is the open-ended optional essays that provide the admission committee additional information. These are the 4 reasons. You should write the type 2 optional essays, because often candidates wonder, I do not have any weakness in my profile. Should I still write an optional essay? Our students often ask me, I do not have any weakness in my profile. So why should I write an optional essay? And then when we study their profile completely, then we find some hidden gems that were not presented anywhere in the application in essays or short questions. And then I tell them, this is how you can use the optional essay. For example, extracurricular activities. Some people have extensive extracurricular activities. So we write optional essay to explain that. Let us now discuss how you can use the optional essay to show your uniqueness to the AdCom, even if you do not have any red flags in your application. First and foremost, if you feel you have covered all aspects of candidacy in other essays, but would like to elaborate or re-emphasize the most significant ones, here is your opportunity to do that. For example, if you have any additional accomplishments, leadership positions, or opportunities, but could not describe them in other essays because of limited space, you may share them in the optional essay. Perhaps you want to describe something about your personal background or your life experiences that have made you who you are. So you can use optional essay for that. Also, you may want to describe a leadership experience in a volunteer role. BSchools are looking for maturity, leadership, and diversity in applicants. And this essay is an opportunity to show those qualities. Make sure to provide specific examples to help the admission committee understand you better. That is, describe who was there, what you accomplished, and how you felt, your thought process. Also, if you did not find a place anywhere else to discuss your international experience or entrepreneurial experience, then your best bet is to use this platform to highlight that. This is an example of a candidate who described his entrepreneurial experience in the optional essay. We worked on this optional essay to explain his entrepreneurial experience that he ventured into immediately after his master's and led his company for 3 years. This candidate graduated from IASC. Extracurricular activities or volunteer work. As I said earlier, if you feel that the essays and short questions do not provide enough space to reveal your non-professional side, your extracurricular accomplishments in sports, music, writing, painting, or adventure activities, or a community welfare activity that you initiated or led, the optional essay is a great place to describe them. Your non-work activities paint you as a well-rounded individual and showcase your personal attributes such as integrity, compassion, grit, and perseverance. We have worked with some candidates who had such an extensive voluntary experience that we didn't have enough space to describe them all in an optional essay of just 300 words. So we decided to share only the most significant ones. But this is one of the most common topics that we have used for writing type 2 optional essay. The example on the screen outlines an applicant's voluntary experiences. As you can see, this candidate was involved in many volunteering activities soon after college, and she also mentions that how much her involvement gives her happiness and satisfaction. Number 3, delayed MBA. Some candidates get ready for an MBA later than others because of their personal and professional reasons. They are anxious that pursuing an MBA at 30 or a little later may not hurt their chances of success because they now belong to the category of older candidates and are more experienced than the average class. In such cases, it is advisable to write an optional essay to explain why now is the right time to get a management education. At MER, we have assisted many older candidates with their application to the top MBA programs. You can check out their debriefs, their video interviews on MER blog. This example is from a student essay who pursued an MBA after 15 years of work experience. He has explained all of his reasons that delayed his MBA plans. This candidate was accepted into UNC. Second MBA. This is also a very common reason for writing an optional essay. Many candidates pursue their MBA in their home country immediately after college, and we have many Indian applicants who do that. However, after being in the workforce for a few years, they realize that their first MBA only offered them theoretical knowledge. So now they are keen to pursue a second MBA from a top global program to gain international exposure and learn those specific skills to realize their career aspirations. An optional essay is a great place to justify your rationale for a second MBA. At MER, we have successfully worked with some second MBA candidates as well. Here, this is an example of a second MBA candidate who pursued an MBA from a US business school immediately after graduation from India. After 6-7 years of professional experience, he realized he needed another MBA to fulfill his post-MBA goals. So far, let me explain this. So you can see how this candidate is explaining that his learning from his first MBA were more academic and practical, and that he now needs a second MBA to learn decision-making skills and approach the program through a practical lens. This candidate got into HKUST and GEIBS both. Now, we have discussed all those reasons we can use optional essays for. Let's now discuss when not to write an optional essay. If you do not have a weakness in your profile that we have discussed today, low GPA, low GMAT, education gap, academic dismissal, employment gap, choice of recommenders, etc., and the school specifically instructs you to use this space for extenuating circumstances, then do not feel obligated to write an optional essay because it will not add value. And schools do not like when the instructions they provide are not adhered to. Secondly, for an open-ended optional essay, look at your entire application and ask yourself, have I presented a well-rounded picture of my candidacy? If yes, then there is no need to write an optional essay. Attempting an optional essay just for the sake of writing will not add any additional value to your candidacy. So use your best judgment before making a decision. I always advise students to first work on all the essays and application form questions and then decide what else they would like to tell the admission committee to enhance their candidacy. That would enhance their candidacy. So we have discussed all those scenarios when we should write an optional essay and when we should not write an optional essay. Then now how to write an optional essay. Here are 4 key tips on how to approach optional essays. Be brief, clear, and direct. Brevity is the key to MBA admission essays. We always emphasize that. So make sure to use this space discreetly and make your case succinctly and directly. You may also check out our blog where we have discussed 11 strategies to meet stringent word limits of essays. Follow the principle of less is more and use every word to your benefit instead of beating around the bush. Do not make excuses. When talking about weaknesses in your profile, do not make any excuses. Why you got a low GPA or why you had a low GMAT. Just state your facts objectively. Focus on learnings. When explaining extenuating circumstances for the education gap, employment gap, or low GPA, focus on the positive aspect of your experience and explain what you learned from that experience and became a mature individual. For example, while unemployed for taking care of a sick parent, you might have taken some online courses to upskill yourself. Perhaps you added to your experience and knowledge while traveling or fulfilling your entrepreneurial dream. Every experience in life teaches us something. We evolve through every experience. So make sure to focus on the positive aspect of all those red flags in your applications, all those experiences that were not so good. And lastly, and most importantly, pay attention to the school's directions. All schools have different directions, expectations regarding their optional essay. So please do not recycle one school's optional essay for another school. Even when the 2 schools have similar instructions, their word count specifications will be different. I worked with a candidate last year on 3 different schools, NUS, HEC, and IMD. And all 3 schools had different word count specifications. NUS wanted 150 words essay, IMD wanted only 50 words, whereas HEC wanted 900 words. So we had to work on each essay in a different way. Also, some schools encourage applicants to use bullet points instead of writing a formal essay. Haas, CBS, and Ross are some of the schools that allow candidates to use bullet points. So it's critical to carefully review each school's instructions when writing an optional essay. At MER, we closely review each applicant's personal and professional stories and then advise them in approaching optional essays for different schools. Based on each case, we sometimes recommend discussing more than one topic in their optional essays. We have even discussed 3 topics in one optional essays when required. Remember, each applicant is unique in some way or the other, so their subjects for discussion in the optional essays will also be different. So thank you for attending the session. I hope it was helpful. You may also visit our web page and sign up for ebook of 30 essays that worked. Visit MER blog for MBA related articles. And then there are some success stories of MBA students in their own words. Prospective applicants are always curious to know what it takes for people to receive admission offers from their dream programs. So some of our students have shared their application experience in video conversations with us. You may check out our YouTube channel or our blog for these success stories, wherein they share their background, the goals, challenges they faced during the process, and how they met those challenges, and much more. Some students have also shared their first year and second year BSchool experience. You may check out the videos that interest you. I have provided links to some of those videos. Now, do you have any questions?
Hi, Poonam. Thank you very much for a nice presentation. So we'll take a few questions from audience, but before that, can you please stop your screen share?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, I'll be displaying all questions on the screen, okay?
Okay. If for some personal reasons I'm running late on my MBA, should I utilize optional essay? Sumiti, do you think you have enough time to work on all the optional essays? So I don't think running late, what do you mean by running late? Do you mean to say you don't have enough time to work on your applications, or you are over the class average and are now belong to the older candidate? Can you please explain it, Sumiti? Running late on my MBA means you are a little older than the average class. Then yes, that's what I explained. That is what I meant by delayed MBA. You can definitely utilize optional essay to explain your personal and professional reasons as well. Sure. Yeah, then you should definitely use an optional essay to explain your circumstances. Yes. Nando, if I have a low GPA but also great additional information to share, which of these should I pick to explain? My guess is additional info. You're right. Your guess is right. You can explain both in your additional information essay. As I have explained, I have helped people with admission essays, optional essays, wherein we explained more than 2 topics, like low GPA, as well as unique life experiences or extracurricular activities or volunteer work. We can always use more than one topic, no problems at all. Anyone else?
I don't think we have questions anymore, so
okay.
Good to wrap up here.
Okay. Thank you so much for attending the session. I hope it was helpful. Good luck with your application, whether you are applying in round 1 or round 2. I wish you good luck with your applications. Have a nice day or have a good night wherever in the world you are, whichever time zone you are in. Bye. Thank you.